So that's what happens when you have a meeting in a brand new space. Not used to it. Welcome everyone. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces, and we do have a new face. Hi, Scott.
Hello.
My name is Maggie Merrill. I am the president of the Southold Peconic Civic. And do you want this? Are you crowded? No. Okay. And on top of our code enforcement program today, we're also going to do a quick annual meeting, which is just a kind of review of what we did in the last year, who we are, where we've been, and hopefully where we're going. I'm going to introduce our board members, who are Ralph Reinertson, who's our vice president and chair of our environmental committee, and Katie Stokes is our treasurer and housing committee. Alvin Shine is our housing committee, and Suzanne Valenza is our communications chair, and she joined the board this year. Tom Maury is our membership committee chair, and Margaret Steinbugler is one of our original founders and
Government committee.
government committee chair. Thank you.
Now's the time to applaud.
So we started in 2022 just as a bunch of concerned residents about what we thought was a lot of development happening in town that we were concerned about. We just wanted to keep an eye on things, so that's a lot of what we do. A big part of our mission is to keep residents informed about what's going on in town, and missed a few slides. That's us. Okay. This past year, since last June, we've held several of these kind of meetings. We did one about the zoning update in conjunction with the North Fork Civics, of whom we are a member of the coalition. We held a big meeting at the rec center about the North Fork pipeline, and we also did the candidates forum with the North Fork Civics, which we feel is an important public service. We did a really great program about septic system upgrades, which we've done. I think we've done one every year because it's such an important issue. We did one on cell service, which they just adopted the plan, and the public hearing is next week. And subdivisions, which we just had recently, that was also the North Fork Civics program, which was really important. And then kind of like as News 12 would say, hyper-local program. We did one about the cell tower, the proposed cell tower at the fire department substation, which was very informative and fun to have in the firehouse. Throughout the year, we've continued to do the water testing, which we started, was that in 22 or 23?
I think it was 2022.
Yeah, it was right when we started. We started water testing in Goose Creek. And we also did Richmond Creek for a time. That's through Surfrider's Blue Water Task Force. And I don't know if you follow Surfrider on social media, or you can check their website. They each week list the results of what's happening in our creek, so you can see we've been green lately. In the spring, we're usually yellow or red because of a lot of runoff and rain, and so that's a very great. I'm really proud that we do that. We have our environmental committee will tell you all about their garden tour coming up. We do an annual beach cleanup, which if you haven't been, I highly recommend, because it's a really good time. We all meet up at Little Fish, and he actually feeds us, which is really cool. And it's with a whole bunch of other organizations, Kenny's Beach Association, the Mothers Club, Relic is in it, other sponsors.
And free
Um,
wine, and a lot of free wine,
And free wine,
local free wine.
and our volunteers from Rewild, who also volunteer with the Civic, so a lot of cross-pollination there. You like my pun?
Very
Thank you. Custom Preserve is a huge notch in our belt, which Ralph will talk about later. And information, the way we keep you informed, we send you emails, we send newsletters, we forward important notices from town. We'll let you know about a public hearing or an issue that's coming up. We'll send you a really interesting news article we think you should read. We also share flyers from our neighboring civics programs. And, for example, just this week, on the 11th, the town is having a big meeting at the rec center about the zoning update and the new approach to it. So that's an important meeting. That's at the rec center at 6:30 on the 11th. And then Kachog is, one of their members is sitting in the back there. Hi, Mike. On June 18th, Kachog Civic is having a meeting about local housing. And one of our board members is participating on the panel.
Another panelist is here as well.
Yes.
Beth.
Oh, and Beth Young from the East End Beacon, who will be on the panel as well. So I'm gonna introduce Katie Stokes, who's our treasurer, and she's gonna take it from here.
It's a very complex treasurer's report, are you ready? So the only way we get money is from our membership dues, and from donations. We spend each year somewhere between $2,700 and $3,000. By far the biggest chunk of change that we spend each year is $1,000 that we give out to a graduating senior of Southold High School, that's chosen in an application process where we invite students to apply and tell us something about a way that they've been involved in supporting some member of the community, right? And so anyways, we give $1,000 to that, but we also fundraise for that specifically, and I have to say, we always get more than $1,000 for that. So people are super supportive, which we really appreciate. And then, we have to spend money on our website and our coffee every month, and a few things, but we don't have huge expenses, but what we would like to do is to raise more money so that we can help pay for different things in town that we think would be a great donation from the Civic Association. So anyway, we encourage membership dues, so you can attend any meeting you want to without paying, but we do love dues paying members. And right now our current balance is about $4,300. And one thing that we really would like to do is we would like to have our books sort of, we would like to have an accountant take a look at it and give us a little bit of advice. So if anybody knows any CPA who might want to help us out, especially on a volunteer basis, do let me know.
We'll give them a free membership.
Exactly, so.
I'll be lining up.
Exactly.
Lifetime membership.
That is my whole treasurer's report. All right, there you go.
Thanks, Katie.
Yep.
So we're all volunteer, and the board meets once a month to figure out, the next program or the next issue we need to tackle. But we do have several committees, and these committees, some of them are like the Environment Committee. You just can't keep them down. They're just constantly doing something. Our Communications Committee, we keep track, well, I'll let the chairs talk about it, but I encourage members to, if you have a little extra time, an hour a month, that's all it takes. Join a committee, get involved. We actually do have some fun once in a while. It's not all hard work. And if you're interested in what's going on in our little hamlets of Southold and Peconic, we keep on top of things. So, Suzanne.
You have that next. So
Suzanne's chair of our communications committee.
And the other members of the communications committee are Ellen and Tom back there at the table, and Maggie, of course. So basically, we just get the word out as much as we can in as many forms as we can. So in the past, we've updated our website. You'll see that you'll get somewhat regular emails with not only just information about our civic, but what's going on in town, other meetings, and information about the other civic associations from the other hamlets too. If you are interested in joining us, we'd love to have another member or two, but basically what we're doing is keeping up the website, keep the website current, and get you regular emails and newsletters out.
And make fabulous flyers.
Thanks. It's all Canva, all right?
Ralph, you're up.
Thank you. I can't be kept down.
Yes, no, you cannot.
Yes, in '23, Rewild is an organization that gives gardens in public spaces that plants native plants. Southold Peconic was the first entity who asked for a grant on the North Fork. And it was granted. It was supposed to be a 1,300 square foot plot. It ended up being 3,600 square feet. The town has been extremely supportive with it. And because of this, and people have seen it, there are now 15 gardens on the North Fork that were given from Rewild. We have, Lynn is a member of our environment, so is Margaret. And as we're currently speaking, there are some of the members at Custer now doing something called Chelsea cutting. My wife is a master gardener. I'm a master shoveler. That's my extent. I was voluntold for this position. So we have formulated a tremendous group of people, group for the East End, Rewild, other organizations that have helped us achieve the goals. Southold Town has been extremely helpful with this, and in fact, Southold Town has put an additional Rewild garden behind Town Hall in that large green space next to the parking lot. And if you ask them to do something, within the week they do it. So it's a very great symbiotic relationship. In addition, the Environmental Council, as was stated, tests water enrichment in Goose Creek. They are involved in the Deep Sky movement. And our next project is going to be, I don't know how many of you know it, there's an arboretum next to the Custer Garden. There is about 31 trees that were planted maybe 30, 35 years ago. The only people who go there are mostly dog walkers. They actually mow the lawn, and you can walk through, and the path is very wide. So if you stay on the path, the chance of ticks are minor. What we would like to do is identify those 31 trees, put a little sign next to it so people can do it, and then possibly, we do know that 3 of them were honoring citizens of Southold. And we would like maybe the other 28 to get the same designation. So we're working on that. The problem is, it is very hard to find the records of this planting. The tree committee was not involved, so they have no records. And people are searching for the trees. So that is our next current project.
We did that.
Oh, exactly. And we do, with Kenny's Beach as the prime, we do a lot of beach cleanups. We do one in the spring and one in the fall. And we also sponsor garden tours. In fact, there is going to be one on June 20th in which we partner with Rewild to visit private gardens where people have sort of imbued the native plant. And in fact, I see one of our garden volunteers in the back, John McLean, whose garden is going to be one of the places to visit.
Thank you, John.
He was previously on another tour, and he's a repeat performer. He was also voluntold. Okay, thank you very much.
So I, Margaret, as Maggie said, I chair the government committee. And what we do is monitor a lot of the town board meetings. So that includes the town board, the legislative body of the town. We also monitor the planning board, the trustees, and the zoning board of appeals. I happen to monitor that one very closely because I sit on the zoning board of appeals. So what does that monitoring get us? Sometimes it gets us sort of understanding the next level of what the town is facing and what people are doing that isn't aligned with what they agreed to when they got a permit for a variance. For example, when it comes to the Enclaves Hotel, which is in our hamlet of, planned to be in our hamlet of Southold, we follow that closely so we understand when the planning board is giving extensions. You may know that that project has been given, I think now 3 6-month extensions because they are not making progress. So we keep an eye on that. We keep an eye on the developing story around short-term rentals, which I think we'll hear from Ben soon, this morning. Thank you. But the North Fork Civics actually, I think, can take some credit for getting that topic highlighted when several years ago we did a series of presentations on code enforcement, including short-term rentals. We foiled the complaints made to the code enforcement office. We analyzed all that data and we determined that illegal rentals and illegal building were the top 2 complaints that residents make to the code enforcement office. And we peeled that back, shone a light on short-term rentals, and the town is now contemplating what kind of code to put in place to crack down on those, to license them, reduce them, and make sure that they are not disruptive to the neighbors. We initiated the North Fork Working Group on Affordable Housing, which Katie chairs, but we helped facilitate getting that off the ground. We've been tracking the zoning update progress. It's been a torturous or circuitous process where it started out, do it all at once, big with a consultant. We're now at the point where it's being chunked out into smaller bits, which I think makes a lot of sense, but not everything is interdependent and everything else. There are pieces that can be broken down and done separately, and that's how the town is proceeding. And then we have also done things like, when I say we get down to the next level of what people are doing that they shouldn't be doing, there was an example where a property owner of a commercial property had a site plan approved for certain uses, and it came to our attention that they were using another structure on their property for commercial purposes that was not permitted. And we notified the town of this, and we provided them the evidence that this was happening. And they sent a letter reminding the owner that if you want to use that building that way, you need to come back to the planning board and go through the site plan approval process. So if anything I said doesn't make sense to you because you don't know what site plan approval is, or you don't know what a variance is, or something like that, please consider joining the government committee, because that is how we learn, by sitting in some of the meetings, attending the Zooms, and seeing how the whole process plays out. So thank you.
Katie?
All right, well, so Alvin and I chair our housing committee. And, you know, there, as Margaret just referenced, there's a lot going on about zoning, and there's a big chunk of zoning that deals with housing. So we've been involved on a variety of things. You know, they had proposed rules about accessory dwelling units, which we gave comments on. And then we ended up, because our civic was really focused on housing, then when the North Fork Civics wanted to have a bigger committee, Alvin and I ended up helping to start that one, and now we meet at least twice a month, oftentimes weekly, and we're trying to sort of help get information out, and also frankly gather information so that across our civics, across the North Fork, we can really understand how we can work with or support developers and people who need housing, and the town is they're really trying to think thoughtfully through how to move forward on affordable housing. So anyway, that's what we're involved with. And because of how very long the zoning process has become, and some frustrations about the fact that there's been no new affordable housing in years on the North Fork, we know that there needs to frankly be a lot more public support for this happening, and we're really trying to get the message out. So in fact, we're gonna be having this meeting that Maggie just mentioned, and I think it's in 2 weeks, and Beth and I will both be on the panel there, but specifically about housing. And even though it's Cutchogue's meeting that's sort of hosting it, it's really about the need, and for all of us on the North Fork to be thinking about affordable housing. So I encourage you all to come. You had a quick question?
Quick question.
Sure.
Are you focused more, or is this whole thrust going more in the direction of upscaling and upcycling pre-existing structures, or is it in conjunction with processing applications for new structures?
So
Is
it's
it a little
really-
bit of both?
It's actually sort of about, the basic understanding is that it has to be everything. It has to be a toolbox of all different things, right? Can we build new ADUs? Can we use existing structures? Can some be rentals? Can some be ownership? It has to be everything, right? Like, there is no one size that fits all. That seems to be the general sense of
Okay,
people who are
thank you.
serving on the committee. Yeah. Alvin, you wanted to say something?
Yes. So as Katie said, she and I are the housing committee for this civic. Just to clarify what Katie has said, let me just give a little background about who I am and what I do. I still work full-time in New York City as an attorney representing developers who build housing. In New York City has a totally different attitude about affordable housing and middle-income housing than the town of Southold. What I do is help the developers navigate building affordable housing and all of the other things like paying union wages. New York City is very progressive about these things, but it works. Sometimes it's a fine line. Sometimes you're like looking at the numbers very carefully. Does this project work with all the requirements? But for the most part, it does, and that's what I do. Here, my role is kind of flipped. I'm not here for developers. I'm here for to see that the town has a balanced housing supply, which it does not. Right now, if you look what's happening, or what happened in East Hampton, we have to face the question: do we want to be East Hampton? Do we want to be like East Hampton, where you have a wealthy population and maybe some middle-class population, and nothing below that? If you look at the trade parade coming from the South Fork, if you're ever down there, early morning, thousands of people are coming in by car to work. 4:30, 5 o'clock, they're all leaving. And we already have that here. If you go on Route 48 at 5 o'clock, a lot of traffic out. But we're only on the cusp of it right now. It hasn't really turned. But what do we need? We need middle-class families, we need working-class families, families with kids. The schools are 50% occupied in Mattituck and Southold. Something's going to happen. We're going to have to close one of those two systems or merge them together. It's not sustainable the way it is. Otherwise, you just have to keep raising taxes to support a half-occupied school. Why is a school half-occupied? Because young families can't afford it. There's no rental housing here to speak of. There's no middle-class housing to buy. And they go elsewhere. Kids graduate high school, they go to college, and they never come back. And I've spoken to a lot of people who are working people who've told me they support affordable housing, meaning housing where somebody who's a teacher needs affordable housing. If you just can't rent or buy something on a teacher's salary here. So teachers they don't come here. The staff is getting older. When they retire, it's hard to find somebody to replace them. Same thing with people who work in the hospital in Greenport. Where is a nurse gonna live? Are they gonna drive 100 miles every day to work at the hospital? It's a long drive to Greenport. They're not gonna take the ferry from New Haven. So what we're trying to do is push the town, and this town is very slow to move, very slow to move. But you know what, there is housing coming. There are plans for at least 100 houses to be built that are being processed in the town. But what kind of housing are we talking about? Super luxury. I can't afford it. We're talking about $4 million plus houses,
Yeah.
right? Oregon Road. You know, are you all familiar with Oregon Road? Beautiful road. To me, my wife and I, we go there to have, you know, to one of the wine tasting places, look at the farms. It's gone. It's not gone this minute, but it is in the planning to be gone. There are two major developments that are going to be built there. It's called conservation, but it's all it is a method to avoid building affordable housing. That is by preserving more land. But they're gonna have about 100 luxury houses there, which will change the entire map here, and not a single house for middle class or working class people. So that's what I'm trying to work on. Thank you.
Tom Maury is our chair of our membership committee,
I'll be brief.
and he's the member of our membership committee.
With Meg. So we have 330 members, 78 are active and paid. So I encourage everyone of the 114 inactive to please pay your dues. You should have gotten an email that is reminding that Maggie sent out last week or 2 weeks ago. It's a yearly thing in June. And we have 138 prospective members, which means people who have come to things that are Southold Hamlet or Peconic Hamlet residents and have signed, given us email addresses, but haven't signed up. So we're going to be pushing that a little bit as well.
And how much is membership?
$25 per an individual, $40 for a family per year.
That's reduced, right?
Yes, that's reduced.
We reduced that.
It's on
For
sale.
the low price. So actually, Tom and I, in the membership committee, so now I'm gonna
Thank you, Tom.
unofficially make you all members of the membership committee for this conversation. But Tom and I were talking and would love to reduce the dues even more. So, you know, we can reduce the dues and make it $20 for the year for everybody, if we get more members. So it's that, you know, just so we cover our, so if anyone has any,
So
great
I
ideas.
I misspoke.
Yeah.
We have 78, we now have 79 because we have a new member joining.
Welcome.
Yeah.
So we would love to reduce the dues and make it kind of a no-brainer, you know, every year. And so if anyone wants to join us in brainstorming on that, let us know. Okay. I put this slide up last year, but I'm just so proud of it because it's quotes from some great people, complimenting us on the work that we do, and it just, you know, it makes it all worthwhile, the work that we do. Anyone have any questions? Anyone have a bright idea? Anyone have a request, something they don't know about, something they want us to look into? What meeting should we do next? You know, I'm gonna riff since Ben's not here yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think Ben is here yet, right?
So,
He knows it's this location?
Yeah. In fact, I
So-
spoke to him on the phone yesterday, yeah.
So, one of the things I was thinking about was inviting Nick Krupski to come and talk about, everything he's doing in the waste management department in our town. He's really focused on food composting, and he actually just got a sustainability award for it from, I think, I don't know if it was the county or if it was a group, but, he's really working hard to get things out of the waste stream, which, when you think about it, is a big deal, because we live, as Bob DeLuca would say, on a sandbar 80 miles out into the ocean, and where does all our garbage go? So, does anyone else have a, you know, like, something they would wanna hear about?
What about keeping some of the massive amount of recycling materials, the proceeds
like
of
where
those,
does- where does
keeping
it
them within
go,
the
right?
community?
Yeah, where does it go? Yeah, that's
It's a lot of money.
That's another question for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, so maybe we'll invite him to come to a future meeting. Any other, yeah, John?
Any thoughts about opening up a second award for
For the high school,
for the high school?
yeah, yeah,
It just seems that, you know, given the current environment outside our community,
yes, yes,
encouraging civic behavior with young people would be a good thing to do.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. We, thanks to several generous, wonderful members, we did reach our goal and made the, you know, when we made the ask for, donations to the scholarship, we did reach over 1,000, so that was awesome. If, maybe we'll consider that for next year. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll announce that by email. We'll let you guys know who the winner is and whether.
I think one of the things about those awards, or the award that's, I don't think enough people know about it.
Yeah.
And I somehow,
Yeah,
that message, you know, because I think
right,
it's kind of hard to resist supporting something like that.
right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Ellen,
We're a 501c3, so
We are.
that donation would also be
tax deductible.
taxable. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
People definitely need to know more
Yeah.
about that.
And
What are some other hot topics that people are caring about that you maybe heard or want to see us do more work on, or call them out?
I don't know, I feel like we covered them all.
No, I'm just saying that.
Gas-powered leaf blowers.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
My morning started.
I
with my neighbor.
actually left my house this week because they were all around. I just went to the beach and I got in my car and ran away. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a big nut to crack, but yeah, it's a thing.
What are they doing about it?
Nothing.
They're not doing anything right now. I will tell you, because, full disclosure, I'm on the Conservation Advisory Council for the town. I'm a member, and we actually wrote up a proposal and about banning them, you know, with some information from other towns. And I'm not sure where that proposal is right now. I believe we sent it off to the town board and are waiting for a reply.
But if, I'll just put it out there since we're waiting, if it is something that you're concerned about, by all means, let us know. There's nothing to stop us from holding a forum on it and shining a light on the issue and having people come forward who would like to limit their use, and having people who use them in their businesses explain to us why they're necessary. Our mission is to educate and inform. There's at least two sides of every issue. So we would have a forum where everyone would have everyone who has an opinion would have an opportunity to state their case and why they are for or against. And often that will help shine a light on an issue, and the town, it will sometimes pay greater attention.
That's a great idea, let's do that. I mean, we should definitely hold a forum. I mean, part of the problem is that the leaf blowers that are currently in use are probably 20 years old or 30 years old.
Yeah.
And, you know, that alone adds to the noise level, but it's really bad.
Yeah.
Every time
Really
it's
bad.
coming back.
And the best part is like, what about just like doing it, like starting by doing it seasonally when there are leaves, like even in front of the town hall in Southold, which is the old bank. Like they're blowing debris into the road, we don't have street cleanup here, so it's like dirt and dust at this time of year, and I'm like, what are you blowing into where? It's not even like leaves, you know, they're not leaf blowers, it's like blowing dust. It's unbelievable. It's like, I
What's the alternative to using for, like, if you have an acre?
Electric.
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 There are
They're
like,
quieter, yeah.
or rate,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah, but how
Randy Wade from
heavy-
Greenport
how heavy-
actually.
Or leaving them.
how far
Yeah,
does
rakes
the-
are good. Rakes
Yeah,
are
or
really
brooms.
Well,
good.
try finding
Brooms
someone
and
that
rakes.
can,
Rooms and
Yeah,
rakes.
but-
like young people that wanna go out and rake, you know, like, that's
Yeah,
today,
fair
that's
enough.
today's, you know, blowers or today's rake. It's
Well,
it's
there's
where it's
also-
at. But what is, what is the, how heavy battery does it have to be? You know,
It's,
like,
I actually have a battery powered one and it's not,
but how long does it get you? I
um,
have a Ryobi, I
Yeah.
went down
It
the
gets-
big driveway, but I
it
went
gets
down
you
the
a long
driveway,
time.
it was
Yeah.
done.
It gets you, I don't use it,
Yeah,
I refuse to, my husband uses it, which,
Well, I mean.
I leave the house when he does, but,
The battery-
but it's not loud.
But you just need more backup batteries.
Leaf blowers have been outlawed in several communities, so we
yeah.
wouldn't be the first.
No.
And
Well, we
it's
have a-
absolutely doable, and the reduction in noise is significant.
Yeah.
So it's,
I
it's,
understand that, but I do
pollution.
think it should be
And
weighed,
pollution.
and I think the town should hear from both sides.
Yes,
Yeah.
Louise?
So that, exactly pertaining to hearing from both sides, because I know this organization doesn't like to take a stand, and many civics don't, on any issue. How about we have a forum on how people can organize for advocacy? What are the means of becoming advocates? Now, that doesn't mean that civic becomes an advocate.
Right.
But the members individually can advocate as individuals and as residents if they know how to organize, and they know how to do that.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good idea.
And I'd be happy to sit on that panel.
I would love that, and we'll get Bob and,
Bob and I could
Bob and you
knock it
could,
out of the park.
yeah, totally good. We might have to do it in two
The
parts.
the environmental committee has begun informal interviews with various landscape people, both those who are, pro-gas and those who are not, and who have been able to affect the change. And basically, another way that you have to approach it is from the homeowner, who the homeowner says to the landscaper, I don't want you using gas powered.
Right.
And if you can persist in doing it, I will hire another landscaper who does. So it's all fine and dandy to ask the town to control, but I always go back to, people don't smoke in restaurants now, mostly because people who don't like the smoke protest it. If you don't like the gas leaf blower, don't hire someone who does it. And there are places out here that don't do it, not many, and that's how it was affected on the South Fork. Those
Maybe
are-
we should circulate the names of the people that,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
give them our business.
Well, I think this sounds like our, a meeting for early fall, right?
Yeah.
September, October, or something like that. Yeah.
Or even if we did it late summer, so people can hire the
Yeah.
right people for early fall.
Well,
and then start hauling.
even if the town does do something, it puts the onus on the business owner as well, and they have to,
Yeah,
there's a big expense
as
into
you said, it's a
changing out their
surrounding thing.
equipment. I think that's where the hesitation probably
But then it
lies.
also comes into the factor of the idea of leave the leaves.
Yes.
Don't
Yeah.
blow them away. Now currently what we do in my own house is we let the grass grow and we just cut the top off. And the grass just stays there. There's no clumps, there's nothing. It looks like a mown lawn, but no one's blowing anything, no one's raking anything. And in fact, it reinforces the nitrogen level in the ground. So no one likes to see the clumps, but if there are no clumps, you don't even know. And you have to hire, well, I don't hire a landscaper, I have my stepson do it. But if that was the case, if I didn't have him, you just set the lawnmower as high as it can and just clip the top off. You might have to do it a little bit more, but we don't generate noise.
But I also think it's a really good suggestion that instead of, you don't always have to sort of go to the town level to say like, town, you should forbid this. But if there's great flyers all around town, be a good neighbor, hire one of these companies who don't use,
I don't know that we can do that.
I don't know
I
how
don't know
we
that we
do
can do
that.
that.
You could probably have, you know, even something in the paper.
Or set up a
You know,
registry.
tips on how to, like.
I think we could absolutely say like here, you know.
Or set it up as a registry so that people can put their names on the list.
Yeah, or here's a way to be a good neighbor, here are all the companies that, you know.
501c3 camp.
No,
There-
so many individuals.
There are not many
Hey, Scott.
This is-
Oh, sorry.
on the South Fork, there are, but not here.
Well, my name is Scott Crook. I, for 30 years, owned Natural Images Landscaping. We're located on North Road.
Oh, you just opened up a whole can of something.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Here come the questions.
I've been taking care of property since I was 11 years old. The biggest issue with the blowers is it's so much more efficient than using a rake and other things, and that's the reason why they're used. So the biggest problem is the cost of a cleanup, let's say that is, you know, $800 per yard will now cost $1,200
Right.
if you have to go in there by hand and take your time. So that's one of the issues. I agree, but I don't like the noise myself. I would always use electric wherever I could. During the season, it's probably a good idea. Most landscapers could get away with just using electric for the after the spring cleanup and before the fall cleanup. That whole period of time, then you could easily use. They're efficient enough, and they've come along. The technology has come along quite a bit where they're efficient. The problem with a lot of the electric in the past was you'd only get an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and it's not good for commercial use because the guys are out there for 10, 12, 14 hours a day working, and you can't recharge. So the cost is what's driving the use of it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the noise.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Even the people that use it don't like the noise. You gotta constantly put earphones in it. At the end of the day, you have a headache. But it's much more efficient, and it comes down to cost.
Right.
And that's where they can look
But
at
I
it.
didn't think of that, about that, because if your guys are, you know, you leave the yard at 7 AM or 8 AM and you don't
Yeah,
get
think
back
about
until
this.
7 PM,
Right.
you would have to have a whole mess of charged batteries.
A whole line of batteries, which in the past have been very expensive. I tried it myself, just
Yeah.
voluntarily.
Interesting.
And had batteries, it just doesn't work. you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But things have come along, still has now has
Right.
a backpack batteries that you go in. As far as like lawn cutting, mowing lawns and stuff like that, you can do it during the summer season. It's very doable.
Yeah.
During the fall, you're gonna get pushed back because people can't
Right.
afford to have. you know,
Okay.
Their
Yeah.
maintenance costs for landscaping is so astronomical to begin with.
Right.
I don't know if anybody has lawns done, but on average, you can spend, you know, 10, 15, 20, $30,000 a year just maintaining some of these properties. So now you're gonna bump that up to.
All the more reason to have less lawn.
Well, if you want young families, things have to be more affordable overall. You know, no one wants to hear a little noise, like, or weekends, that's when the people are, the families are off to be able to do some work in their yard. And they wanna be efficient about it, so they can have like an hour to take their kids to the park, or, you know, whatever young families need to cram into 2 days.
Right.
You
But a
know,
lot of
like
times-
that.
A lot
So,
of times they don't even know.
efficiency matters, and it matters a lot to the
Absolutely.
working people.
I had
and
to rake when I was a kid, so that's
I
why.
had to pick up sticks and do a
With
lot
my
of raking,
family.
yeah.
If you're running a business and you have to create a profit, you have to pay your mortgage and all
Right.
that, raking is not an option.
That's like saying, you
No,
know,
I didn't
hand
mean for
wash your
raise.
clothes on a board
I
instead of
started
using
out
a washing
looking at weed
machine.
whackers. I had little hand clippers used to go.
Right, no.
Give me your business
All right, we're
card.
definitely gonna have a leaf blower.
I need your card.
You-
It's
no
gonna
one can
happen.
afford it.
Also,
Okay.
people aren't
Well, that's
reading
the
the
problem.
no after 5, 6
When you average,
o'clock.
like.
I'm sorry.
Aren't there guidelines in
Yes.
season?
There's a noise ordinance,
That's
and
not
there's
being-
also,
that-
yeah,
that's
yeah, you can
not
only
being
operate them at a certain
enforced.
time.
No use by commercial landscapers
Right.
of gas-powered leaf blowers after 6 PM
Right.
Monday through Friday, after 5 PM on Saturday, no use on Sunday by commercial landscapers.
And what time do they start? 8?
8, I think, yeah.
So at
On a
8:01,
Sunday?
that's
Yeah,
when,
it's
that's
On
your.
Sunday?
No,
No, not
Sunday
Sunday
is
at all.
not permitted
Oh, good.
by a commercial landscaper. An individual
Tell them I
homeowner
look at that.
may use
Yeah.
one on Sunday.
But, you know,
Who
to,
enforces that?
Well, that's what it comes up to, is
I
code
will
enforcement,
explain
right?
that.
It's not being enforced.
It's not being
Right.
enforced. The
I think it's
code
not.
enforcement, which we will hear from Ben about,
Yeah.
is entirely complaint-driven in this town. There is no proactive enforcement. If you witness somebody using a gas-powered leaf blower, a commercial operation, using a gas-powered leaf blower outside of the permitted hours. You can call the police, which I have done. You can speak to the crew, which I have done. And I have also done things like spoken to the crew, explained to them what the code is, and then I called code enforcement the following Monday and said, please call this business, take a photo of their truck, so I have the phone number, call this number, explain to them what the town code is. But it's up to us if we don't like it.
I have seen, Margaret, that they start at 5 minutes to 8 because they're very clever and they know by the time the police
Yeah.
come, they will have
They'll
no
be able to
eyewitnesses
Yeah.
other than the complainant.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's frankly one of the reasons why we invited Ben Johnson to come this morning. There seems to have been a, I don't know what, little problem, because I spoke to him just yesterday. Thought we were all set for today, but hopefully he'll come in the next few minutes. I've emailed him, I don't have his personal cell phone, so I haven't been able to contact him, but all is well for him. But it really, it's funny, when he and I spoke yesterday, he's like, can you tell me the kinds of things that people might wanna hear about? And I had sent him the list earlier, but I said, yeah, I think that what people really want to hear about is, like, we know that there are all these rules, but it's the enforcement of it that strikes people as particularly challenging, right? And I do know that they've made a real effort this year about making, you know, in the past, there hasn't been any code enforcement officer, like, in the evenings or on the weekends, which has made people nuts, like, because of course that's when a lot of these violations seem to be most troubling and seem to be occurring. And so I know that there was a real push, and I believe he was gonna be letting us know sort of about what's available. But to Margaret's point, you know, the thing that people have to do is to go to that email address for code enforcement or the phone call, but you really can just by email say to, you know, code enforcement, this is the address and I believe that they're violating this particular code.
It's actually, it's a form on the town
Yeah,
website.
it's a form,
Yeah,
that's
just
right.
so people know.
Yeah, you go to the, yes, you follow it through to the form, and they really are responsive when possible, you know, if there's somebody there. Now, I will say that, one of the things you've probably heard is that they have also formed a committee very specifically to be focused on the issue of short-term rentals and what to do in a long-term way about short-term rentals. And I think they have some pretty, some great ideas that they really are trying to also think about how they're gonna be, enforcing it, and they're trying to get everybody on board about it. But the very first thing that they've done, the first part of their approach, is to be focused on safety. It's not about, you know, is somebody renting this for a shorter time than they're supposed to be. They're just about, if you are renting, you must have a permit. And that, you know, they've sent out letters to, and there is this system now that they pay for that actually the Civic encouraged them to embrace, which, you know, you can use AI for so many things these days, but it scrubs and it goes on and it finds out what addresses are on Airbnb or, you know, any of these sites, and they have a list. And so they've reached out to all of those and they've said, remember, you cannot rent for any period of time, long, short, whatever, you cannot rent for any period of time unless you have a permit. And that's really about making sure, you know, that then people are, you know, that they have the right smoke detectors and everything else, right? It's really about safety, because we all know about the tragedy that happened a couple of years ago that was so horrible on the South Fork.
Also in our town.
And romance.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
exactly, right? And so it really is, so their first focus is not even about arguing about people like, oh, you can't have rented for that period, you should have rented for that period. It's just about, you can't rent at all unless we've made sure that your place is safe.
Katie, I mistakenly went to the Peconic Recreation Center this morning. Is it possible that Ben went there and saw no cars and thought that this
Maybe,
was-
but I actually called him yesterday. I had already emailed him about the location. I called him and literally spoke to him and said, just wanna let you know, it's not there, it's here. But the poor man is so overwhelmed. I mean, he has so much on his plate right now that maybe he forgot the conversation we had yesterday, I don't know.
And let's hope it's not a tragedy.
What sort of safety issues are you having with the short-term rentals? What is the issues that the town has been having?
So, safety issues specifically, it's when people have been renting their places and then there have been fires and they haven't had working.
Just been a common fires?
There
Well,
are fatalities.
there've been some and there've been fatalities,
Yeah.
but
In
the
the short term.
permit
You
ensures
mean like
that a
Airbnb?
building inspector inspects to make
Yep.
sure that the rental is safe.
Yeah, I own about 30 apartments and about 12 houses in this town, and been a
Yeah.
responsible landlord
Yeah.
for quite some time. I supply houses for the working class people
Great.
in this area.
That's
Thank
awesome.
I
you.
also at
Yeah.
one point owned short-term rentals, and my experience is I've never had a problem as far as noise, as far as people disturbing other people, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what are these complaints that are coming?
I think you're really lucky.
Yeah, you're really
because,
lucky.
You know, they're,
I
So,
was,
so specifically though, to answer your question, Scott, so, the two young women whose family had rented a short-term rental on the South Fork a couple years ago, and they passed away in a fire.
Okay.
Because there weren't working smoke detectors. And it was a home that didn't have a permit, and so it hadn't been inspected by anybody. And then there was a fire in Mattituck about a year,
I remember the fire in Mattituck. I'm closely involved with the Central American community. I've worked in landscaping, as I've said before, for 30, almost 40 years. And a lot of these people are my friends, and I know them. And I know some of the circumstances behind that particular case where the young man was up in the attic
Yeah.
and he was passed out drunk from sleeping the night
Yeah.
before. And when they left the house, he was completely obliterated upstairs. So there's other, it's terrible. It
It is,
stinks.
yeah.
But there are other circumstances behind it too.
well, I think we
My-
need to wait to hear from Ben about, and have Ben answer some of our questions.
But- and
in
so, but
regards
one of
to
the
what's
things-
happening.
I'm not trying to get in trouble.
Yeah.
No, totally understand. The short-term rental proposal, the code that they've come up with is going to a code committee meeting on July 1st. And so, if that gets approved, then it'll go up for a public hearing. And
Actually, I was just wondering what-
encourage everyone to go to a public hearing.
Yeah, I was just wondering what the actual issues were, because I think the vast majority of people that I know people, I've been here, like I said, 5 generations, I know most of the local people who have rentals, and I've never experienced myself any kind of issues, with the people. Everybody I've ever rented to in the past, I don't do short-term rentals anymore, but I did for years, and, never have had a problem. They were
That's
always
great.
cordial, they were always
Yeah,
nice,
we've
and-
actually heard from so many
You're
community
welcome,
members who
John.
haven't had, who haven't had the same positive
I've lived here
experience.
since 1970,
Mhm.
and we bought in Southold.
Yeah.
And there's a lovely house across the street. It went up for sale, people from the city bought it, came around, they invited us all to barbecues. Oh, our grandchildren are gonna love the pool, this. All of a sudden, V-Broke comes up for 2 years. I would get 6 o'clock in the morning, boom, 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 housekeeping people. Do you have the key to cross the street? Then it was one thing, then it was another. They one time, and the best thing of all was, they asked if they could borrow my driveway. Because, right, and I'm a very tolerant community person, but
You all say that.
there's a part at which you,
Say no.
enough, and then there were people in my neighborhood who were intimidated because these people were wealthy. One was a doctor, the other was something big at the FAA. And I said, no, we live here too. You know, like, there's a something, interestingly, now, they took their names off these things. I think the first letter went out.
Yeah.
I don't know what, the letter to people to say, I think you need to have an inspection, you need to, do this properly.
Yeah. The first letters have already gone
Yeah.
out, I think maybe the second letters, they said that the plan was
Right.
to send out 3 letters
Yeah.
reminding everybody that if their address is on one of these sites, that they need to have a permit.
Do you know anyone who's actually gotten this letter?
I don't believe that the first letters have gone out.
Oh,
I
you-
just watched the work session.
And Ben said like,
Right.
hypothetically.
Yes, so they're, I think that
It's an
apparently
interesting
the
question.
letters are ready to go, but they didn't actually go out or something
I
like
heard
that.
that.
There, it was and it was just at the work session on Tuesday, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
that.
just wanna say, I mean, from my experience with short-term rentals, and we bought in 97, so not quite 30 years, but 3 of my immediate neighbors
Mhm.
became, in the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years,
Since
became
COVID.
short-term rentals.
Yeah.
And it was nothing short of horrific.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you know, from people like coming down, like they think they're, I don't know where they think they are. You know, guys
In a
stripping
community.
naked on a,
Oh my
I
God.
guess, jumping off the dock, you know, because I'm on part of Goose Creek. But, I mean, you're right there, and you're in your own backyard. There's no awareness.
Yeah.
One of the houses had a
Yeah.
wedding one weekend.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
Arrow Leyland's is the backdrop for the
Wow.
wedding format. Like, you know, 50 cars parked every which way. It was,
Wow.
and so the
Yeah.
complaints went, and I, you know, I'm not a real firm believer in the complaint form. First of all, I felt like a snitch. Like somebody, no, like somebody should be driving around and see, you know, and every weekend to be doing this. And
Yeah.
to the part where, the other attorney said to me, he goes, oh, you're the one who sends every Monday morning. I said, yeah, like, but so why isn't anybody doing anything about it?
Right.
So I just wanna say though, that the positive outcome that's come, of the 3 of those, 2 of them now are like long-term rentals. There are families in both. And if
That's good.
anybody, I will argue that the loss of housing is also contributory to this short-term
Oh,
rental.
absolutely,
Very
it's a
much.
big part of
We've
it.
become this tourist town, and so we've lost the children. Like, we always had children.
Yeah.
We had a bus stop on our corner, they'd be running all over the lawn, it was great. They,
Yeah.
you know, they had a little thing
Yeah.
they'd sit on
Yeah.
over there. If the bus comes
It
down, they
changes
take
the
one
community.
kid now,
Yeah.
it changes the community, like you really lose the heart of the
You lose
community.
your neighbors.
And,
Well,
yeah,
if you listen
just-
to it, that is certainly one of the things that's motivating the efforts right now about short-term rentals, is because they want them, you know, if you want to rent, they're saying like, they really want to encourage long-term rentals, so it
Right.
can be families.
And 2 of these 3 now have become that, and I appreciate that
Yeah.
so much, because you feel like there's a cadence to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that car, you're taking your garbage out, you kind
Right.
of nod. You don't have to be best buds, but you know that you have a neighbor,
Yeah.
not somebody that you don't know if they're gonna be up till 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
What is
Bang.
the current law for short term?
Less than
2 weeks,
2 weeks.
2
You
week
cannot
minimum.
rent it.
But
for
it's
less
changing, right? It's gonna
Yes.
be changing again
Yes.
in a year?
than-
Yeah, the current law
so-
is 2 weeks or
Right.
less is short.
Yeah.
And what are they
Less.
proposing?
Weeks.
Well, that's why we invited Ben, right? So there's a couple of different proposals on the table, I believe.
And
And they will allow a very small amount of short-term rentals. I think it's based on percentage per hamlet.
But it's not gonna be
But
shorter than.
I don't wanna put out any information that I'm not,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stand up here and, you know,
Yeah.
say that I know. So it is something that we have to wait for the information to come from town. Yeah, and like I said, the code is going to the code committee, which is the final step before, you know, it has to be hashed out. They make any changes, goes to the attorney, and then they will present it in a public hearing.
But also, just to let you all know, so Ben is just very recently become the new town attorney, right? He was the assistant town attorney before, and so the previous town attorney has retired anyway, so there have been changes, and now there's this whole committee that's been put together too to be focused on this issue. So it's not like, well, it's just gonna be same old of what it's been in the past. There really is a lot of effort being put into this right now. And we do look forward to hearing from Ben when he.
Yeah, but I
think
think we
it's-
have to
We
face
thought it was
reality.
today.
Yeah, I think
That-
we've given
I
him,
think he's not coming today,
Yeah, he's not.
unfortunately.
Proceed with our
Yes.
voting?
That's what I.
Yeah, exactly, I think we're gonna proceed to voting. And then we will find out when he definitely can come. We thought we had it locked up for today, and then we'll try and invite him back, because we know that this is something, and it's not just about short-term rentals, but it's about trees and dark skies and all sorts of things. And in fact, yesterday, when he'd asked me what I thought people might be interested in, and I said, obviously, I think the number one thing is gonna be short-term rentals, but, you know, I mentioned some of the other issues. And then I told him, I said, you know, there's one issue that isn't about code enforcement, really, but I know that there's actually been a petition that has been started in town and that people are really starting to talk about, and that's about concerns about data centers. You know, the AI there are big companies with a lot of money who are going around buying up big parcels of land to create data centers, and they require a lot of water. So a lot of towns and villages around the country actually are now trying to ban these things. So anyway, and people are really worried out here because of how shallow our aquifer is.
So we should all go to the June 11th meeting about the zoning update, and we can ask those questions.
Exactly. But so anyway, so that's something, again, that's another issue that people are beginning to think about. He was like, oh, that's really interesting, because I've been beginning to think about this too, so we can talk to him about that too when he comes. But now I say, let's go switch it over, and I'm gonna run our elections here right now. So every year we have a couple of spots that open up on the board. So this year, there are actually technically, is it 3 or 4 spots?
4.
I think there's 4 open.
There's 4 open, exactly. So there are,
and the reason we do this, just so everyone is clear, it's not for, we're a 501c3. And in order to do that, we have bylaws, and we have officers, and so it's all official. We don't really,
Maggie's trying to say that we're not a totally uptight
We're
group of
not-
people, we are trying to just
yeah,
follow the rules.
we're not uptight, but we have to do this, because we're 501c3, so.
So, we've already had some people nominated to fill those 4 slots. And in fact, it's 3 people who have been serving on the board. Their term is up, but they are ready and prepared to serve again. And so those 3 people, I believe, I don't even
We can
have
go it
written
to the
in
slide,
front
this
of
is
me.
slide.
Oh, sorry, Tom. Next slide.
Yeah,
Tom,
I think.
exactly. So it's Tom and Maggie and Suzanne. And let me just say, yay that our chair is willing to run again, is all I can say. And that, Suzanne,
we don't know what we do
we
then.
don't know what we would do without any of these people, so we definitely hope to re-elect them. But we also, there is we would love it if somebody here is willing to nominate themselves, or a super fun thing you can do is to nominate a member who isn't here.
Love that.
So if there's anybody you've been thinking about, like you just owe them a special favor, now's your time.
Maybe Tom's up for it.
Maybe what?
Tom's up for it.
Exactly. No, we're gonna definitely make Tom have to already be on the board. So, we have 3 names, but I'm officially opening the floor here for nominations for the 4th slot, or for even more, and we can have a contested election. How fun would that be? So, come on, you know you want to be on the board here. We meet once a month, by the way, on the board, and we have great conversations about what we're going to be talking about next and what we're doing in the town. So do I have any nominations from the floor? From yourself or from somebody that you just want to nominate, as long as they're a member.
Nominate your spouse if they're not here.
Exactly. That's always a good plan. Say it again? Yeah. So, anybody? So what we can do is, if there aren't any nominations right now, we can close the floor and we can move to elect the 3 people who are nominated for the 4 spots. But I don't want to preclude anybody from nominating themselves or a dear friend or their annoying neighbor, any of the above. All right, shall I close the floor? Any nominations?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to close the floor. And, all right, so we don't even have to pass all the ballots. By a raise of hands, can you show me who would support these 3 people being elected to the board of directors? Show of hands, look at that. Yay, yay, yay. All right, perfect. Then there is a majority. And we have to just remember that if you know anybody or think of anybody, you can always reach out to the board, because we can appoint somebody to serve in the 4th spot until our next election. Okay?
Yeah, if you change your mind. let us know.
Exactly.
And then you don't have to go through the whole,
Exactly. That'd be lovely. Okay.
You can just
I'm
be
done.
appointed. So, I think we're just gonna face the fact that Ben's
Yeah.
not making it.
Yeah.
But anybody else have anything they wanna bring up? So, what I'm taking away from this meeting is that we're definitely having a leaf blower meeting.
And that Scott would be a great panel member to talk
Yeah,
about that.
that'd be awesome.
I think we'll invite Nick Krupski to talk about our waste issues, and, yeah.
Maybe Louise might want to weigh in on this as well, but with the changes at the state level regarding secret,
I don't know if it's something like the North Park Civic should do, or Southold,
Yeah.
or just
Yeah.
everybody in general, but we don't really know what that's gonna mean yet, and I know
Mm.
Bob's been talking about having a lot of that, unfortunately, a lot of that might end up shifting to the towns.
So the onus is gonna be on the town to kind
Mostly
of,
planning boards, yeah.
really,
Um,
yeah.
So that's gonna be a really big deal in terms of large scale development that could potentially happen on any piece of previously disturbed land, and I think what a lot of people are concerned about with the language that's in
Yeah,
the state budget, and I haven't looked at it carefully since
yeah,
it was adopted, is that basically secret would not be
not
required on
applied,
any
yeah.
previously disturbed land, and how do you define that? That could be, it had been farmed and is laying fallow.
What is the acronym?
Okay, so this is like,
The State Environmental Quality Review Act.
if something might have a potential, major environmental impact, it has to go through a lot of coordinated review, or it did up until the state budget process, and now we're kind of sorting through what the new state, regulations are gonna be. They've really stripped this back a lot. But that's one of the really big ones, that one of the really big issues that is gonna be a problem out here is that this definition of previously disturbed land is really vague.
Yeah.
It could pave the way for a lot more.
That's definitely a North Fork Civic.
Say, Harvest
Yeah.
Point type development
Right.
here.
Yeah,
And the governor said it was gonna be about affordable housing, but there's nothing in the changes to the state law that are gonna make sure that it is affordable housing. And out here, really, I mean, if the developer had a choice between building affordable housing or not, they're
right,
probably
they're
gonna go the
they're
other way.
gonna build luxury condos or whatever.
So,
Yeah.
it's a big issue.
It is a huge issue. So that, the state budget just passed like a week ago or something, I
Do you know
think?
much about the final language? I have the final language, and it still does not specify anything about affordable housing. It still does talk about disturbed land, and it has differentiated between geographic areas like New York City versus more rural areas on how many houses would tip the scales on different types of treatment under the new regs. But, you know, we've relied on SECRA, which is the State Environmental Quality Review Act, since its creation in the mid-1970s. And it has become a horrible bureaucratic nightmare for developers, but it's been one of the main ways that civic people have been able to engage around the state of New York on any issues affecting the environment. And the governor put language into her budget, which is, under our state constitution, a way to, I'll say it, bulldoze things through without legislative debate. And SECRA was created by the legislature. These things had no time to be debated by the legislature. The budget gets looked at by the top leaders in the Senate and the Assembly, but it's not on the floor. It's not that people can debate. There's no public hearings for this. So none of us had any say in this, except advocates in Albany. And I want to give a lot of credit to my colleague Bob, who wrote up a piece that was really very North Fork specific in its heartfelt concerns, but did apply statewide. And Save the Sound, who I work for, worked with Bob, and then we moved that out into the environmental advocates in Albany. At first, they were negotiating with the governor about this. Then they took on our stance.
Wow.
It didn't succeed.
Right.
The governor got her way, and
But changing, I
and
mean,
yet-
it's a change of policy, but
It's a
doing it
huge
through
change
the,
of
but doing
policy.
it through the budget.
It's
Which
often
makes
done,
no
it's often
sense.
done, and our state constitution allows this, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's wrong to do policy in a budget, in a budget proposal, because that's what we have legislators for. But that's what happened, and our legislators on both Assembly and Senate couldn't do anything about it. And there was a great deal of advocacy on this, because
Yeah.
there's a tremendous amount at stake. It's a tremendous amount at stake. It mostly has to do with housing. This will not affect commercial development, that's one saving grace. But, out here, anything, 100 houses or above, I think, will be, let's see.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't have it in my head right now, but the 100 houses is a measure.
Yeah.
And we are concerned about the definition of disturbed land.
Mhm.
We don't even know if it means a single house in the middle of the woods
Right,
is considered, you know, if you have a 100-acre parcel with one house
right,
and the rest is woods,
that's disturbed
is
land.
that disturbed
Yeah.
land?
Mhm.
It's
It's
not
vague.
defined.
Yeah.
It's a wide open hole that's been left in our ability to protect the environment. You know, and I know everybody in this room remembers the surveys that North Fork Civics did 3-4 years ago. It's right up there with affordable housing.
Yep.
But now this concept of affordable housing has defeated environmental protection in the place where environmental protection was running neck and neck with that issue.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in that survey 3-4 years ago, the top 3 priorities that the respondents identified were preservation of natural resources, preservation of farms, and preservation of essentially habitat.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And
Affordable
actually-
housing at the time was right in the middle of the pack.
It was
Did
low.
not make the top
Well, we know it's
3,
high
5, or
now.
6.
Oh,
It has risen.
But again, the
But-
governor didn't even put the words affordable into
Right,
this.
Right, which was the whole purpose of
Yeah.
shoving it in there to begin with, right? Yeah.
The motivator was that many towns use secret to block affordable housing.
And we
All
know,
the time,
So
yeah.
that was a device.
yeah.
I agree, whatever happened here was not the right way to do it.
Correct.
It went too far. But that was the motivation.
It just doesn't apply out here though, right? I mean, the way it's written,
It does apply out here, statewide.
no, I meant,
Do
what
we,
happened
do
was-
we use
was-
secret to block affordable housing here? No, I don't think we do.
Exactly, yeah.
Um,
So this sounds like
We often use
definitely a
secret
meeting we need to have.
to protect open
The new
space.
secret rules
That's
is a
the
great
thing.
idea, yeah.
Yeah, and they are brand new.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, I mean, the budget was just passed like last week, right?
Yeah.
Less than a week old.
Okay, so when we have North Fork Civic meetings, at least twice a month, if not more often, and it's, representatives from each of the civics in Southold Town, from Mattatuck, Laurel, all the way out through Orient, and, I will bring that up, you know, we'll talk about it at the next meeting. It's, you know, we have a to-do list, but, we'll definitely put that on it.
Yeah,
And a lot of the civics did actually sign on to Bob DeLuca's, what Bob DeLuca sent up to the state. And we did, as board, a lot of, the North Fork civics did sign on to that. There was a very long list of people that signed
Yes.
up to that. So, it's, very disappointing, but,
The thing is, if we don't know what is in our environment, we can't protect it, and secret gave us the tools to explore what our environment is all about, and examine what could be sacrificed by a given proposal. And it was a sunshine law. That's the main thing that you're losing
right.
here, is that it shed light on the process and let everybody get involved. Anybody who wanted to could speak on it, whether at a hearing or write a letter or whatever. It's meant to be a public review process. And now, by taking it out of the process completely, we have no say other than with planning boards or zoning, but planning is gonna be the real thing.
Yeah, the good news is I think that there has been discussion at the civics level and about affordable housing, and frankly about the importance of environmental groups and housing groups working together. So that's already, we've been talking about trying to maybe have at the North Fork Civics, sponsored by the housing group, having a forum that's about how this all works together and how, you know, because frankly, we've been great on the North Fork. We have been able to preserve so much land out here, and we've had 0 affordable housing units built in the last several years. And so there has to be a way that
More
we
than
can
6
really.
years, this is more
So
than 6
there
years.
was a forum at Peconic Landing about housing and the environment. And Beth taped it, it's on her website, so go to East End Beacon
Yeah.
and you can see that. It's a really great panel that they had, a really good discussion. And the whole thing was run by, I think a 21-year-old from Orient who graduated from college and can't find a place to live. So he approached North Fork Environmental Council to come up and do this meeting about housing and
Which
its
was a
effect
great
on the
start to the
environment.
conversation.
So it's a really good forum, and I highly recommend that you check it out. I know the video's on East End Beacon.
Where were there any affordable housing units built for the local people?
I'm sorry?
Where are there any affordable housing projects?
You mean at all? So
At all,
the
that
one
are
that is
affordable?
touted a lot by the town is
Manatee
cottages in Manitowoc.
Okay, yep.
And then there's also, the one that was sort of most recently built, is near Greenport and it's Vineyard View.
And that one's had a lot of problems, right? That's the one with
well,
is that the one with
yeah.
a lot of different people from, they're not even from, my understanding, what I heard is they're not even people from here. They're people from
Well,
outside.
when you get state funding, that's,
You have to go through the state.
and county, you know, so it's actually, it's people who wanna be out here who couldn't be out here.
Right, okay.
Because they
But then
couldn't
my
find.
daughter has to move out of.
Yeah, and so actually one of the things, that I know, one of the developers who's worked a lot trying to get affordable housing out here has said that like, she'd really like to go do a one-question survey at Vineyard Views. She wants her one-question survey to be, do you now work out on the North Fork, or, you know? And, cause she thinks the answer would be by the majority of people, yes. So, so it's not that, you know, people come out here and then they travel the other way to go work and stuff, it's that they've been trying to find a place to live out here so they could work
Is
out
that the
here.
one across from Town Beach in Southold?
No, it's
Closer to
Across.
it's on, off of 48, it's on the south side of
it's across from the, not Town Beach, the,
Newest condo.
what's that condo?
There's the
You know,
RV
like
place.
townhouses kind of thing?
I thought it was
Cliffside.
I thought it was
Cliffside, do you know where Cliffside, the condominiums, it's across the street from that,
Yeah,
which is
after
just past
San
San Simeon,
Yeah.
and it's,
Right in the middle of the wetlands.
before you get to the traffic circle and, yeah, it's in the wetlands,
So
yeah.
one of the problems of that building, there was cheap stuff.
Yeah, there are definitely,
There's
yeah,
a
issues
whole
about the
cheapness.
development itself,
And the
yeah.
other thing by
About how it
law,
was.
even on the
Yeah.
south side, what is it, Peconic Green Groves, there must be 90 units that we should all look at on the South Fork, cause they're way ahead of us. They
Mhm.
realize
Oh, yeah, no, they've been doing a lot
economically
more development
that
recently,
they needed to step up their game.
yeah.
There are things over there that have lasted 25 to 30 years that are equal and as good as the cottages.
Yeah.
The cottages almost never happened.
Right, and there are great
Because
developments that
it
we
was
can learn
like
from, absolutely.
that people were gonna blob in there. You can drive to the cottages today, they look as good or better,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but
So-
it's the other.
So I'm gonna encourage everyone to go to the June 18th meeting that the
Yeah.
Cutchogue Civic is having at 5 o'clock in the Cutchogue Library, all about housing. And I think it's entitled Who Gets to Live Here? So that should be a good one. And I think for us, we're gonna wrap it up, because
Right, in closing, may I just say kudos to all the board members for doing this.
thank you.
And we're honored, of course, to have Beth Young, and anyone who doesn't read her paper.
Oh,
should.
Beth is
Yes.
here. Let's hear for Beth.
And I'm also happy to
Subscribe
meet
to the
Scott.
paper.
And I'm happy to meet Scott. I didn't know there was anyone like him out here. So thank you for all you do.
So, thank you all.
Yeah, sorry that we missed,
Yeah.
but what a great conversation. I hope everybody
Yeah, it was a
appreciates it
good
as much as I did.
conversation. We just need to do a couple of these
Yeah,
more often.
yeah.
And now.
That's right.
So thank you all for coming. Sorry Ben didn't make it. And we'll have to reschedule it.
Maybe in person.